Hello folks, today I'll be bringing you a poison build for the scout class. It's using the Queen's Chosen set armor together with Executors dagger to stack up damage based on the health regeneration that we are getting. And the Master Archer bow for cooldown reduction together with some passive skills for health regeneration, and you'll see what we're using for the gear and skills in the following segments. The build is kind of open for modifying and to experiment and replace some things such as the trap I'm using or the dryad summoning skill I'm using. They can all go and be replaced. The Master Poisoner passive could also be replaced, and you'll see that when I'm talking about some alternative options. So stay tuned and I hope you enjoy the video. So guys, the gear for this build is pretty straightforward. It's the Queen Chosen set. Basically I tried to put some crit chance damage and on some places crit damage just to balance it out. For the blessings you can put whatever you think is good, just try to keep some decent amount of crit chance, because if you're using something like this bow you would need to be critting. So try to get your crit chance to above 50% or at least 45%, and then put the rest in crit hit damage. Also keep in mind you can use a mage character if you have one leveled up at level 50. You can transfer your scout gear to the mage, you can upgrade it with the maximum number of links. Then you wouldn't have to be seeing those 60 damage. Instead you could add some more crit damage or crit chance. Uh, Try to get stuff with either cooldown reduction, cost reduction, or some health regeneration. I think there's only two pieces that can give you health regeneration, and that's those two. Another thing that could give health regeneration are the amulets, as you can see from this example. From the rings, let me see if yeah, some of them can give you health regen. So if you wanna stack more health regen, you can try and get rings and amulets that give that. For the bow, as I showed you, the Master Archer bow is amazing. It has a chance to reduce the cooldowns on crit. And in order to get something useful, you could probably try and get armor piercing, crit damage. Maybe you don't need cooldown reduction since you're using the Master Archer bow, but if you want to make sure that you don't rely on the crits, you could also try and get something like me. Armor piercing, cooldown reduction, crit damage, and the counterattack is kind of a waste. Maybe something else would have been better there. The main point of this build is transferring health regeneration into damage, and this is done via this weapon. The more the health regen, the better the damage. If I do this, you can see the damage increases. And we're stacking skills which you will see later for the same thing, for health regen. Now executors, try to get, as you see, something with crit hit chance for sure. If you can get crit hit chance and crit damage and damage, that's nice. Maybe try and get either cooldown reduction or armor piercing, or if you are lucky enough, maybe both. For rings, just pick whatever you think you need more as stats. I kind of went with whatever I have at a good crit hit chance value. So this iron bark ring gives me crit hit chance, some crit damage, and it's giving me some damage reduction. I probably would prefer to replace it for something like this one if the crit hit chance was better, because the armor piercing would pretty much stack well with the way we've set up our passives. As you can see, currently I have 32% armor piercing. Now, another ring you see I'm using is Ring of the Spirits. I think this is an amazing ring to have in any crit hit chance oriented build, because you keep getting HP and energy for each crit. So I would strongly suggest keeping this ring. For the amulets, again, use whatever you think is better. This isn't a bad choice, but I actually use it only for the crit hit chance and damage combo. Maybe if I find something else with good crit hit chance and armor piercing, or crit hit chance, damage and armor piercing, I would use it. So just but whatever you can find that is good. So this is it for the gear. Let me quickly show you some of the skills now. So for the skills, as I was showing you in the gameplay earlier, I was using Master Archer, which is a great way to gain energy very fast because you can use it to just line up enemies, shoot in a straight line. It would keep piercing anything behind your targets and give you energy very quickly. Then I'm using Reflex Shot Superior, a great way to repel the enemies, and due to this skill it's also slowing them. And it's also poison. I'm not using this one because it's physical damage, the mastered version, so the superior reflex shot would do for us perfectly. This one is also poison and it also slows. This is our heroic set skill, spinning blades, perfect for stacking the damage. If per se this guy is the boss and I shoot the spinning blade, it hits him, it hits the wall, and then it would come back if you line it up that way. Like maybe if there's a boss here and we want the blade to return, there we go, it can hit the boss again. And you can just experiment in tight places with the ricochet rebounds of this skill. It can be put to very good use. Hungry Roots Mastered is our poison trap. It is something you can replace with anything you like, but I personally really like using that skill. Especially since I can just keep bouncing around the boss, spam a trap, keep bouncing around the boss, drop some blades, and in the meantime I can be using my reflex shot. Queen's Rat Mastered, it's perfect. If the boss is somewhere here, you pop it around him and you just can walk around this area. You can keep dodging away from the boss's AoE attacks, and he will keep taking this poison damage. He will be swallowed. Anything else around this zone will be swallowed due to the Master of Poisons. The Fire's Reckoning just gives us some extra summons. It's good, they can take aggro, they can kind of body block some enemies on some shots, so they're kind of very good to have in your arsenal. Those two skills you can replace, they're not a must-have for the build. You can take whatever you feel is better for you. Something like Spiral Cut maybe might be okay. Let's see how a Spiral Cut would go. You can just spam those on a boss and then you can just run around and it will just keep hitting the boss. It's not a bad choice to have a Spiral Cut. Just keep in mind, if you're using Spiral Cut you would end up using a lot of energy up, which can be spent on Reflex Shot, which gives you a lot more damage than Spiral Cut would. But Reflex Shot hits once, Spiral Cut just keeps rotating, so you can try and stack them up and build up some more damage. Hungry Roots also only hits once, so keep that in mind. Spiral Cut is a good choice. This I would not suggest using. It's more of an energy waster. Maybe you can try experimenting with it, but you're better off using Reflex Shot instead of that, because you have to stay in one place to use this. Another trap you could use is this one. It's not bad, you can place 2 of those. It says maximum summon 6, but it's actually 2 times 3 for 6, because each time you cast it, it makes 3 traps, as you can see. Or actually with the trap set it makes 3 traps, now it just makes 1 by 1, or maybe the master version is 3 traps. Let's check. Yeah, the master version lays 3 traps at once, but you don't need it because it's not poison, it's physical. So if you're gonna use it, you can lay 6 separate instances of this trap if you wanna go with it. For the passive skills we're using, Blessing of the Forest, a must-have skill. Lone Hunter, in my opinion, is also a must-have skill. It gives you crit chance and health regeneration. You just need to experiment how far from the enemy you need to be before this gets removed. Master of Poisons you could replace, but currently I think there's only 3 skills that could fit well into this build, and that's Guardian Spirit, If you use Guardian Spirit, you can stack up more health regen. Look at that. We're dodging through our spirit, it gives us this grass field which increases our attack immediately. Then we can stack this with that health regeneration, and our attack almost goes up to 300,000, and the health regen goes to 35.2%. So the health regen we're getting and the cooldown, not the cooldown reduction, but the damage reduction from Guardian Spirit stacks up well with this build. So it's a good option. You just have to rely on the familiar a lot, so it's kind of not the best. This one isn't a bad choice, especially this one with the energy gain. This is a good choice as well, movement speed and damage reduction. So those three skills would be the perfect skills to add to the build once we get the new update, which would allow us to equip 6. If they don't add new ones to pick from, I would suggest those three to go here, here and here for the other 3 slots. This one I wouldn't suggest because it's kind of broken at the moment, so it doesn't increase the number of traps you can place. So let me quickly show you my god skills 3. It's kind of unusual because I'm balancing both sides. This node I took for some extra HP. Maybe you wouldn't need it if you decide to not take this one. I took it to balance out taking this node. If you decide not to take this cost reduction node, at least consider taking those energy nodes. That's 12% energy for 4 nodes spent. If you wanna go for this skill, go ahead, try it. It's a great option, but then you might have to lose either those or even some of those skills. This we don't need, nor do we need this. But this armor piercing is nice, and besides that you're getting another 2, 4, so 14 armor piercing, 16 armor piercing from all those nodes here. You could try and get rid of them. Sure, you lose some DPS, but maybe you could win some DPS with this crit chance, because you'll be able to put more crit damage in your gear. So consider taking this, but this would only be effective after killing some elites. So consider taking the first one for the 10% crit chance for 20 seconds, or the 10% crit chance for 30 seconds. Because you're not getting good stuff, only those two things are worth it. Here this is just some HP and damage, and this is again just HP and damage. So maybe taking all the way to here would be okay, or even all the way to here. You just need 5 skill points. You can easily remove those 5 skill points if you don't need the 12% energy, and experiment with putting this instead of Master Poisoner. So what else do we have in the god skills? This is a must-have and this is a must-have. This isn't. Those 3 nodes you cannot take if you want to. And another option is getting some health regen. This here would give you 2 and this would give you 1 for the cost of losing some health. I decided not to take it because I'm squishy as it is now with 93,000 HP. If you want some HP for the price of some cost reduction, you can grab those nodes. But yeah, just make the build your own. You can get some damage instead of energy here with crit damage. Not so bad. This could give you some bonus damage to champions. If you get rid of something, you can go here. You can even go all the way there for some extra armor piercing and crit damage. And extra crit damage again. And another extra crit damage. So this could give you 20, 45 crit damage and armor piercing. Not a bad choice to just go there. And another 10 bonus damage to champions. So consider even going there. Make the build your own, experiment, but use this as a guideline for the starter of the build until you experiment, until you farm some fragments and try moving things around. Now for the last part, I'll show you a few more elite kills followed by a boss kill. So this was it for this video. Thank you for watching, and if you want to leave any comments, just let me know anything about specific builds you want to see or anything in general, feel free to. I also would appreciate any likes, any subscriptions to my channel. As for the links to my Twitch, Twitter, Facebook and Mixer pages, you can see them at the end of this video, or you can just look at the links in the description below. Remember to keep it cool, folks, and until next time, goodbye.